Hey there, everybody. It's Mark Pereira. I'm here to talk to you today. We're going to start doing these live videos on YouTube so they can go out. A lot of people are starting to exodus from Facebook. A lot of people are moving to all kinds of different platforms. So we want to make our videos where they can be put on different platforms. So we're going to start doing them here on YouTube. And so that's the goal here. So I'm going to try to change the angle here a little bit so you get a little better view. There we go. Okay, so the thing that we want to talk about today, that we're really looking at here, is we want to talk about the concept of the Teutonic Afterlife, right? That's really what we're looking at today, because I was on a thread the other day talking to some people about it. And the thing is that in the research that I do, I think that really what solidifies certain finds and certain ideas is the psychology behind it, right? If you have a psychology behind something that basically creates the notion that you're going to benefit people, you're going to connect to people, you're going to inspire them, you're going to create something religiously sound for them, then that's something that is obviously, an aspect that, if it can be proven, is something that we need to go with, right? And so, in my research and the things that I've looked at, I mean, I compare research and I look at the way things are viewed, and I try to look at from the point of view of somebody who would have followed this religion and somebody who would have been against this religion, right? So obviously, if I'm against the religion, I'm going to paint this picture that these people were savages, these people were monsters, they were heathens, we hated them, they're so evil and stuff like that. A good case in point is the connection of Odin as Harvard and Harbardsyard, which isn't true, is actually Loki. The notion that Tyr is a god of justice, which means that war is justice. That's not true, and the Prosetta specifically states that he's not a Lona, he's not a peacemaker, not a god of justice. So, that type of research resonates because it tells people, like, that's not what our ancestors thought. They were religious people. They believed in a religion. They believed in a higher power. I mean, people, always come to me with the nuances, talking about the word religion and its origin or whatever. But you know what I mean. When I'm talking about religion, I'm talking about belief in a higher power, belief in a spirituality, something that greater than beyond yourself. And in the modern world, we use the word religion, okay? That's what we use. And, you don't like it, oh well. So the thing is that hold on, there we go. In looking at, the spiritual system and looking at, how we view these beliefs, the idea is that it needs to have benefit. It needs to have benefit, and it needs to have a structure that can not only be proven with lore, but something that is part of a philosophical foundation, something that is important, that matters, right? And so today we're going to be talking about the afterlife, talking about going where we're going to go after we die. And so I was on this thread and I was talking to people, and there seems to be like almost this desperation to go to Valhalla. And a lot of people talk about it, and people come up with all these kind of crazy, insane theories and stuff like that. Like, if you just have, you go through a hardship in life and you make it through okay, then you're going to go to Valhalla and all that stuff. And it's like, that's just not true. And they think that, a lot of people think, well, it's just, the way it was because they were all warriors and it was a warrior culture, and that's the way they believed. And they believed that Valhalla was like this place, and whoever, died in battle or was a great warrior was going to go to Valhalla, and whoever was going to go to hell and suffer, or something like that, right? Anything, hell is going to be boring, or it's going to be bad, or whatever, right? All of that is Christianity, okay? That is literally Christian thinking, Christian idea, the demonization of this faith, okay? And I'll tell you how. We actually know this is actually something that is fully attested, fully proven. It is Christian propaganda. It was actually created by a guy named Ulfilas. Ulfilas was he's the one who translated the Bible into German, right? So when they translated the Bible from Hebrew into Greek, they translated the word Sheol or Gehenna into Hades, right? Now in Greek, in the Greek heathen beliefs, Hades is, he's the god of the underworld, and Hades is also the name of the underworld. And then Hades is split into two different regions, which is Tartarus, the realm of the damned, and the Elysian fields. which is the realm of the blessed, right? In our religion, in the Teutonic belief, it's the same exact thing. You have the goddess Hel, who rules over hell, and then hell itself is split into two realms, which is Helheim and Niflheim, or Niflhel and Hell, basically. All right, and so the problem is not in that, you know, the notion of Valhalla is wrong or incorrect or whatever. The problem is that the notion of hell is wrong, is the way that it's been interpreted, the way it's been presented to people. It's this whole idea that hell is like this bad place, and you know, because Christians wanted to, you know, it became popular in Germany, it became popular in the northern lands when they started translating the Bible and people started to become Christians or being forced to be Christians or whatever. Then, you know, this notion of hell became the way it was. It's today the word that's used by Christians to represent their you know, damnation afterlife. But that's not the word. The word is Sheol or Gehenna, and that's the Hebrew form of it. And hell is a German word, just like heaven's a German word and God is a German word. But we won't go into all that. But so the thing is that this idea of hell, right, or the notion of hell, is it's a realm of bliss. It's a realm of happiness. It's a realm where good people go. If you're a good person, right, and you live a good life, then you're going to go there. And I know for, like, in our minds, in our brains, because we all grew up in this, you know, Christian world that we live in, you know, we tend to think of just saying the word hell as like bad. You know, and even today, people say, go to hell, and you think it's bad, and it's because you've been conditioned to think it's bad, and you've been told that it's bad, and you've been told that it's something that you should view negatively, and or at least undesirably, right? But it's just not true. You have to retrain your brain to think differently, because it's not the truth. The truth is that hell is a realm of bliss. It's a realm of happiness where you go after you die and you join your ancestors and you learn the history of your people straight from those who lived it, and you get to enjoy beautiful fields and flowers, and you know, and you live in the same palace with the Norns called Vingolf, right? Or Gimli, and this is where you live until till Ragnarok and the resurrection afterwards, and you actually get to repopulate the world after Ragnarok. And that's straight lore. That's exactly what the lore says. Some of this stuff, you know, comes from like Snorri Sturluson and Saxo Grammaticus, and some of these ideas that people have pieced together to create, you know, basically just a sort of affirmation of the Christian afterlife within heathen context, because the word hell became so popular. So they take the goddess Hel, right, and they make her into Loki's daughter, who's the goddess of disease, and she's half black and she's half white, and or half alive and half dead, or you know, and all this stuff. And Loki's daughter's name is Lakin, and it's not Hel. Hel is Erd. She's one of the Norns. She's the goddess of the past. She's the goddess of ancestors. And you know, and that's what she is. That's what she represents. So it's not really a far stretch to think that the goddess of fate, who is Erd, is also the goddess of death. Pretty simple conclusion to make, right? And so, you know, you die and you go to hell, and you go after you're actually dead, you go through a funeral. All the dead get to be at their funeral and see their families and say goodbye to them in a spiritual sense, and then they go on the journey of the dead. They visit into the underworld, and they you know, get to experience the trials that you go through. And if you're a good person, you just breeze right through them, right? If you didn't get hell shoes, you get hell shoes from a tree, probably Yggdrasil. You pass through these rivers that cut people up if they're bad, and you just walk on planks if you're good, and the planks represent your good thoughts and good words and good deeds. And then, you know, you travel through the bridges and all this stuff, and you finally come to the hell thing after 9 days. And once you get to the hell thing, you know, it's determined whether you are a good person or a bad person in your life. Now, a lot of people think that sounds awful lot like Christianity. That sounds like God judging you and all that stuff. But the thing is, the difference is that God doesn't judge you based on morals in Christianity. That's a misnomer. That's probably a carryover from heathenry. Because in Christianity, you're not judged based on your morals. You're not even supposed to follow the law. right? Based on the idea that you're going to get a great afterlife, right? You're supposed to follow the law because you're told to, you're commanded to. That's why they're called the 10 Commandments, because you're commanded to, not because you're going to get a reward for it, right? And so the Christian belief is not based upon morality, it's based upon grace, mercy, you know. So you are granted uh, entrance into heaven based on whether or not your God is merciful to you, and whether or not he wants to throw you in hell for the fun of it or let you go in heaven for the fun of it. Whatever. Following the law doesn't do anything. So there's no concept of morality. There's no concept of that. And all that stuff is from heathenry, because heathenry had, you know, a set of morals, a code that you lived by. And if you didn't follow that code, if you violated that code, then you suffered consequences. And there was concepts of revenge, concept of vengeance. There were goddesses of vengeance. Like in the Greeks, they had the Teutonic, in the Greek beliefs, they had the Erinyes, and in the Teutonic form, they had the Hapter, which are deities of vengeance, right? And so the notion is of an afterlife is basically that you have vengeance for those who got away with it, right? Those who walked away and were horrible people and slaughtered people and did horrible things. And you know, I think of like a good person would be like Joseph Stalin, you know. That'd be a perfect example, a person who, you know, killed 20 million people and then died peacefully in his bed, you know. And well, the thing is that I don't think we look at it as about being forgiving. It's not about forgiveness in our path. I don't think that we look at forgiveness. It's about doing the right thing, right? So we don't go to our gods and beg for forgiveness. We don't go to them and plead that they show us mercy or anything like that. What we do in our religion, they have the word, it's called Gambin Gilda or Avrad Galda, and it basically means, you know, you pay for it, you make up for it, you make amends, and that's what you do. When you do something wrong, you make it right, and that's the heathen way, right? It's not you get up and, you know, pray to a God and say, oh, could you absolve me of all this? And your God says, sure. And then the person that you wronged is just wronged. You know, I mean, you have to make it right, and that's the concept. It's balance, it's karma, it's erlag. You know, it has to be balanced, and that's the nature of it. And then if you die and you have a severely unbalanced erlag, then you're going to face consequences for it, and that's where the hell thing comes from. And this hell thing is mentioned. It's mentioned in all sorts of sources. It's mentioned in Ynglinga Saga. It's mentioned in the Poetic Edda. It's mentioned in many cases, and it is actual thing. You know, I believe they mentioned, you know, Thor traveling to it, traveling to the thing of the dead, and it's sometimes called Odin's thing. I call it hell thing because it's pretty descriptive. That's just a term that we came up with and put it in the Asatru Edda. And so you know, it's something that we you know, just use as a term, so it's kind of catchy, and it helps people to remember, and it, you know, really defines it because it's been so clouded as to what it is. And, you know, because it just kind of says the thing, or the thing of the dead, or the thing of dooms, or whatever. So, you know, so the thing is that when you devalue this, and it's really probably one of the most successful destructions of one of our aspects of our beliefs, it's, you know, because when you took that away, when they took away the concept of hell, right, the true concept, then they made it where our ancestors just came off as like these brute savages who only wanted to, you know, fight, and that's all they want to do. And really, and a lot of people, they let their ego take a hold of this now, because they think of Valhalla as like, well, I have to go to Valhalla. I have to go to Valhalla because that's the only way to go. That's the only blessed afterlife you get in this religion, and I have to, and it's all about that. And it's like, it's not about that. It's not about your ego. It's not about feeding, you know, your identity as a person. It's not about trying to make you feel good about yourself and saying stuff like, I survived cancer, or I, you know, made it through the death of a child, or something like that. Those are all horrible things, but those things are actually described in the lore. I mean, there's descriptions of the lore, you know, about like what happens to children when they die. It's possible that they go to Mimir, you know, what happens when you get sick, you know, you're touched by the Laken, the goddess of plagues. And you know, it's not always nice and pretty and all that stuff, but it's specifically described, and it's not, you don't get to go to Valhalla because you went through some hard stuff. We all go through hard stuff, and that's really the thing, is that Valhalla is about exceptionalism. You have to be exceptional to get there. And so if you just go through some hard stuff, everybody goes through hard stuff. You're not exceptional in that. People who think they go through something hard and they make it, they seem exceptional. I mean, no, that doesn't make you exceptional. Exceptional is when you do something, you know, like when you stand up for your people, or you know, you fight a battle, you know, face something that is seemingly insurmountable. You get chosen by the Valkyries to go there to Valhalla and get honored as a hero of your people. And that's what it's about. It's about honoring those who make those ultimate sacrifices. And by saying that, oh, I just go through a hardship or something like that, I get to go to Valhalla, that sort of demeans that those people who do make those sacrifices, right? It demeans what they went through. And what they go through is a lot harder than what any of us go through who aren't on the battlefield. And I think we all know that, and we shouldn't be disrespectful of that sacrifice. And so the thing is, though, is that there's no need to be disrespectful of it, because hell is a beautiful concept. It's a beautiful place. It's just been demonized, just like so many other things that were demonized. But we have to take it back. We have to demand that this is our afterlife world, not yours. Your Christian world is Sheol. You need to accept that, translate it in the right words, and quit trying to use ours, which is a good place, you know, in the Helheim proper, or hell proper, and not Niflhel, but in hell itself, you know, this is the place of the blessed dead, and this is the place where our ancestors are, and this is the place that we honor as a connection to those people. And so I think that's something that's really important, that all of us as heathens need to push and tell people about, and explain to them the research. And so what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to put some of the links to some of the research that we've got on this. And I ask people to share the video, get it out there, help us spread the word on this, because the more that you teach people the true lore, the beneficial lore, the lore that helps people better their lives, then the more people are going to want to be involved, the more people are going to be inspired by this path. And you want to inspire more people. You want to get, you know, people to appreciate and value this way of life, because we love it so much. This is something that's really important to us. So in loving it and cherishing it, we want people to respect it, at least, and then possibly join us if that's something they feel like doing. You know, so I'm gonna you know, share the links in this, and you guys, you know, check out what I'm showing, check out the research so that you can start showing people how this goes down. All right, so you guys have a good day.